Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaved Bhaktivedanta ki jai. Granth Raj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Jai Nitai Gautam. Hare Krishna. So this morning we'll continue our discussion of Canto 9, chapter 10, text 54 and text 55. So we are nearing the end, we are actually towards the end of this chapter, so we'll finish this chapter today. So the next speaker tomorrow will begin a new chapter. The reason these two verses are taken together is because of the integration between husband and wife. One talks about husband, one talks about wife. So I couldn't keep myself to discuss this separately. So I requested the next speaker that I'll do both, and then they can start, and they kindly consented. It's a very interesting verse. Chapter 10 talks about the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra. So text 54 talks about the glories of Lord Ramachandra, and text 55 talks about his eternal consort mother Sita. So we'll discuss about both of them today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tatho Jayamudhirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama-shloke Bhaktir Bhavatir Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So text 54 goes as follows, and we'll read text 54 and 55 together, and then all of us will repeat like that. Is it okay, everyone? Ekapatni vratadharo Rajarshi charitas shuchihi Swadharmam grihamedhiyam Shikshayan swayamacharat Premanu vritya shilena Prashrayavanata sati Bhiya hriya cha bhavagnya Bhartush sita haranmanaha Ekapatni vratadharo Rajarshi charitas suchihi Swadharmam grihamedhiyam Sikshayan swayamacharat Premna nuvritya shilena Prashrayavanata sati Bhiya hriya cha bhavagnya Bhartus sita haranmanaha Ekapatni vratadharo Rajarshi charitas suchihi Swadharmam grihamedhiyam Sikshayan swayamacharat प्रेम्नानुवृत्त्या शीलेन प्रश्रयावनता सती भिया ह्रिया च भावज्ञा भर्तुः सीता हरन्मनः। एकपत्नी व्रतधरो राजर्षि चरितः शुचिः स्वधर्मं गृहमेधियम् शिक्षयन् स्वयमाचरत् प्रेम्नानुवृत्त्य शीलेन प्रश्रयावनता सतिः भिया ह्रिया च भावज्ञा भर्तुः सीता हरन्मनः। एकपत्नी व्रतधरो राजर्षि चरितः शुचिः स्वधर्मं गृहमेधियम् शिक्षयन् स्वयमाचरत् प्रेम्नानुवृत्त्या शीलेन प्रश्रयावनता सतिः भिया ह्रिया च भावज्ञा भर्तुः सीता हरन्मनः। एकपत्नी व्रतधारो राजर्षि चरितः शुचिः स्वधर्मं गृहमेधियम् शिक्षयन् स्वयमाचरत् प्रेमानुवृत्त्य शीलेन प्रश्यावनता सती भिया ह्रिया च भावज्ञा भर्तुः सीता हरन्मनः। एकपत्नी व्रतधरो राजर्षि चरितः शुचिः स्वधर्मं गृहमेधियम् शिक्षयन् स्वयमाचरत् प्रेम्नानुवृत्त्या शीलेन प्रश्रायवनता सती भिया ह्रिया च भावज्ञा भर्तुः सीता हरन्मनः। माताजी। एकपत्नी व्रतधरो राजर्षि चरितः शुचिः स्वधर्मं गृहमेधियम् शिक्षयन् स्वयमाचरत् प्रेम्नानुवृत्त्य शीलेन प्रश्रायवनता सती भिया ह्रिया च भावज्ञा भर्तुः सीता हरन्मनः। एकपत्नी व्रताधरः राजर्षि चरितः शुचिः स्वधर्मं गृहमेधियम् शिक्षयन् स्वयमाचरत् प्रेम्नानुवृत्त्या शीलेन प्रश्रायवनता सती भिया ह्रिया च भावज्ञा Bharto Sita Haranmanaha. Ekapatni Vrata Dharaha. Taking a vow not to accept a second wife or to have any connection with any other woman. Raja Rishi, like a saintly king. Charitaha, whose character, Suchihi, pure. Swadharmam, one's own occupational duty. Grihamedhyam, especially of persons situated in household life. Shikshayan, teaching by personal behavior. Swayam, personally. Acharat, executed his duty. Translation. Lord Ramachandra took a vow to accept only one wife and have no connection with any other women. He was a saintly king and everything in his character was good, untinged by qualities like anger. He taught good behavior for everyone, especially for householders, in terms of Varnashrama Dharma. Thus, he taught the general public by his personal activities. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Ekapatni Vrata, accepting only one wife, was the glorious example set by Lord Ramachandra. One should not accept more than one wife. In those days, of course, people did marry more than one wife. Even Lord Ramachandra's father accepted more wives than one. But Lord Ramachandra, as an ideal king, accepted only one wife, Mother Sita. When Mother Sita was kidnapped by Ravan and the Rakshasas, Lord Ramachandra, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, could have married hundreds and thousands of Sitas. But to teach us how faithful he was to his wife, he fought with Ravan and finally killed him. The Lord punished Ravan and rescued his wife to instruct men to have only one wife. Lord Ramachandra accepted only one wife and manifested sublime character, thus setting an example for householders. A householder should live according to the ideal of Lord Ramachandra, who showed how to be a perfect person. Being a householder or living with a wife and children is never condemned, provided one lives according to the regulative principles of Varnashrama Dharma. Those who live in accordance with these principles, whether as householders, brahmacharis, or vanaprasthas, are all equally important. Premna anuvritya, because of service rendered to the husband, with love and faith. Shilena, by such good character. Prashraya avannata, always very submissive and ready to satisfy the husband. Sati, chaste. Bhiya, by being afraid. Hriya, by shyness. Cha, also. Bhavajna, understanding the attitude of the husband. Bhartu, of her husband. Lord Ramachandra. Sita, mother. Aharat, simply captivated. Manaha, the mind. Translation. Mother Sita was very submissive, faithful, shy and chaste, always understanding the attitude of her husband. Thus, by her character and her love and service, she completely attracted the mind of the Lord. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. As Lord Ramachandra is the ideal husband, Ekapatni Vrata, Mother Sita is the ideal wife. Such a combination makes family life very happy. Yad acharati shreshthas tad evataro janaha. Whatever example a great man sets, common people follow. If the kings, the leaders, and the brahmanas, the teachers, would set forth the examples we receive from Vedic literature, the entire world would be heaven. Indeed, there would no longer be hellish conditions within this material world. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 9th canto, 10th chapter of the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, entitled The Pastimes of the Supreme Lord Ramachandra. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Mukham Karoti Vachalam Panghum Langhayate Girim Yatkripa Tammaham Vande Sri Guru Dinatarinam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Ekapatni Vratadharo Rajarshi Charita Suchihi Swadharmam Grihamedhyam Shikshayan Swayam Acharat. Lord Ramachandra took a vow to accept only one wife and have no connection with any other woman. He was a saintly king and everything in his character was good, untinged by qualities like anger. He taught good behavior for everyone, especially for householders in terms of Varnashrama Dharma. Thus, he taught the general public by his personal activities. Prema Anuvritya Shilena Prashra Yavanata Satihi Bhiya Hriya Cha Bhavagnya Bhartu Sita Haran Manaha. Mother Sita was very submissive, faithful, shy and chaste, always understanding the attitude of her husband. Thus, by her character and her love and service, she completely attracted the mind of the Lord. So, the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is now getting into the two most important incarnations of the Lord. Already Lord Ramachandra has appeared in the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, which is so auspicious. The Śrīmad Bhāgavatam talks about the Suryavanshi dynasties and then the Chandravanshis. So as a part of the Suryavanshi dynasty, the most glorious of the Suryavanshis, Lord Ramachandra, the Supreme Lord himself, is being described here. And then eventually now, very soon we will enter the much awaited 10th canto of the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, which will be replete with Lord Krishna's pastimes. So, the essential theme of today's verse, or two verses, is not just about having one wife. It's not just that. Yes, that is a very important part of today's verse. But the essential theme of today's verse is how good leaders strive very hard to set a good example for others by their personal behavior, by our own achar, how we can set a personal behavior for next generations to follow, or even for contemporaries to follow in society. Because when we strive hard to set a good example to others, in doing so, the person who strives hard to set an example for others automatically derives the adhikar to train or to teach others. And such leadership, when a leader follows and then also shares the realizations with others, such leadership gradually uplifts the entire society, nation, and the entire world. So, in these two verses today, in the next 50 minutes that we have, we will discuss different facets of Lord Ramachandra and his eternal consort, Mother Sita. We will discuss different facets of their personality and what we can learn from that. First, we will talk about Lord Ramachandra, because it's coming in that sequence in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So, there are two things we will discuss about Lord Ramachandra. One is the aspect of monogamy or having one wife. The second is the aspect of Lord Ramachandra being an ideal king. So, talking about Ekapatni Vrata, monogamy, in ancient times, the kings and the nobility, people who were at very high echelons of society, for them, polygamy or marrying more than one wife was culturally acceptable and legally also acceptable those days. And many times it was actually expected that they will do so. Primarily for this, there are two reasons why polygamy was accepted in those times. The first one was to build political alliances. That was a very important part of preserving dharma. So if a dharmic king did that, then developed political alliances, then that contributed to the harmony of society at that point in time. So many a time a dharmic king, not a dharmic king, a gap, dharmic king would marry into other kingdoms to strengthen his ties with the other kingdom. That's networking through relationships. So, by that, he would derive power. He would increase his power so that he can reduce the influence of adharmic kings. Polygamy would contribute to improved relationships and ties. And also, power, relationships and the diplomacy that was there between kings often acted as a deterrent to war. Today, unfortunately, what is happening? They call as a nuclear deterrence. Okay, but every country wants nuclear power for nuclear deterrence. It's very ironical, right? Every country says, I will have nuclear power, only then we will have peace. Today it's almost regarded that every country started saying that I need to have nuclear capability for the sake of peace. So that is irony today, and then mankind is stockpiling all these nuclear weapons. God knows when what will happen, right? Already there were 2 strikes on nuclear capabilities. Thankfully, seems like we are okay to date. But we never know where it will go. There are enough mad people in the world capable of doing anything now for their personal ego. But the leadership during Treta Yuga, they were much, much more responsible in whatever they did. Prabhuji, you can sit here, this side. Thank you. Please give him a mat. So the first reason for polygamy was to strengthen political alliances. The second was to ensure progeny. So having more wives increased the chances of getting a rightful heir. When I say heir, not A-I-R, H-E-I-R, a rightful heir. Okay, which was crucial for dynastic continuity, for the parampara to continue, for the value systems to continue. Sometimes there has to be several iterations to identify the right person who will come in the lineage. So, Maharaj Dashrath, the father of Lord Ramachandra, is said to have many wives. Though primarily there are 3 consorts who were the primary wives for him. Who were they? Kaushalya, Kaikeyi and Sumitra. These were the 3 primary wives. And having a son, having a rightful heir, was considered as part of royal duty. It was considered as a very vital component of royal duty to have a rightful heir. So, it is mentioned that Maharaj Dashrath remained without a son for many years and therefore without a male heir. So he lived for many years, and therefore what he did, he conducted what is called as the Putra Kameshti Yagya, so that then he'll get a son. And then there was a sacred pot of kheer that was given at the end of the yagya. We'll see that in many times during the Bhagavatam. One pot of kheer always comes. Right? So he also got one. And then it is said that his Kaushalya, one of the primary wives, received half of that. And from her came Lord Ramachandra. Then from Kaikeyi, who received another 1/8, came Bharata, Maharaj Bharata. And then Sumitra, the third wife, she received 2 portions. And then she got twins. Who are those twins? Lakshman and Shatrughna. So that is how the pot was divided between, the kheer was divided between all these people. However, it is mentioned that despite many wives, despite all these wives, Maharaj Dashrath never deviated from the path of devotion. That is a very important point to understand. Okay. He never deviated from the point of devotion. And his devotion was expressed how? Through righteous rule. His righteous ruling of the kingdom based on solid values, devotional principles, was a very good, by that he set a very good example. Performance of yagyas, taking care of brahmanas, caring for his subjects or caring for his praja, intelligently executing diplomatic relationships with other kings, and very importantly, leaving a great lineage behind him. These were all the duties of a good leader at that time. And he executed each of them with aplomb. Thus, he embodied both devotion as well as kingly responsibilities. He didn't compromise one for the other. And whatever he had to do at that time, which was dharmically permissible, he did that. So, we have to be very careful when we study Srila Prabhupada's purport that we should not become judgmental on Maharaj Dashrath versus Lord Ramachandra. Oh, the son was glorious, but the father was married. No, not that way. We have to be very careful. Because the Lord, will he become the son of a lusty man? Supreme Personality of Godhead. Is it possible? Not possible, right? Out of, what is the probability that the Supreme Personality of Lordhead comes as our son? Maybe, maybe somebody in this room, but normally it is 0. So therefore the fact that he came as the son of Maharaj Dashrath, can you imagine? And not just him, Lakshman, Balram also came. Okay, sorry. Krishna. Balramji also came in that lineage. And then a glorious son like Bharat, Shatrughna. It's not possible. It can't be a coincidence, right? So therefore we have to be very careful to understand the exalted nature of Maharaj Dashrath, so that we just don't see that aspect of him having multiple wives and then keep on beating him up for that, right? Or compare him with Lord Ramachandra in a way that denigrates his own stature. So we don't do that. So we do not judge him by his marital status, because at that time polygamy was not considered immoral or illegal in that yuga. Rather, we glorify him for the many good qualities that he had. One of his greatest qualities was he chose dharma over personal attachment. Just imagine if your son tells, I'm leaving forever, to the 14 years I'm going to the forest. Just imagine. Or the daughter says, the son-in-law says, I'm going, and your daughter says, I'm accompanying him. You will not see me for the next 14 years. What will happen to the father, right? Even hardcore devotees will find it extremely difficult to accept this, right? So, but Maharaj Dashrath considered, he chose dharma over personal attachment. Actually, that choice was so heartbreaking for him that it eventually resulted in his death. But still he chose that. So that is his glory. So, now the question is, if you will see the other aspect of Maharaj Dashrath, his vulnerability towards his wife Kaikeyi. extremely vulnerable, which apparently puts him in a grey area. In cricket it is said, if you bowl short pitch, you can go back foot and then pull or hook the delivery. Long and then you can do a drive. But therefore good bowlers always bowl where? In the grey zone, where the batsman doesn't know whether to play front foot or play back foot. So Maharaj Dashrath had many such tests in his life, where there was always a conflict between dharma and morality, dharma and what was socially acceptable. So he was always playing, a lot of his games were in that zone. And that same thing happened to Lord Ramachandra also. That's why Lord Ramachandra on one hand is glorified also, but sometimes is questioned also about some of his decisions that he took. It's a very difficult job, being a leader. The moment one takes leadership, many times one bats on a very, what is it called, a murky wicket, if you say. A sticky pitch. You never know where the ball turns. You never know where it skids and comes onto the stumps, right? So, and then you make choices and then every time, oh, the batsman should have done that. Oh, the world is very quick to judge. Oh, they should have done this, they should have done that. And then, there's a lot of propaganda, which is replete with criticism, right? So therefore, it needs little bit more forethought and deeper thinking to understand why things are as they are. Otherwise, we can become very quickly judgmental on others. So, we have to understand Maharaj Dashrath's vulnerability also with Kaikeyi. It is that very vulnerability of Maharaj Dashrath that makes him very relatable as a human being to all of us. Don't we play on sticky wickets? We all get such decisions. One of the biggest decisions, that sticky wicket, that for all of us was what? Whether to continue in Australia or whether to go back to India. For the sake of children, for the sake of Melbourne Mahaprabhu Mandir and the glorious congregation that we have, for keeping our child in the association of devotees, we chose to continue in Melbourne. But our parents are in India, they are becoming old. We are not taking care of our parents while taking care of our children. This is a big dilemma. What to do? Play in front foot or play in back foot? There is no solution to this. You can be only in one place, unless we have mystic powers to be on more than one place at a time. We don't have, unfortunately. So therefore, life's decisions can be many times in the grey zone. So Kaikeyi, his vulnerability with Kaikeyi is an excellent example of where we can relate to him as a human being. And that is the whole characteristic of this pastime, because the whole thing is a Nar Leela that is going on of the Lord. Human-like pastimes will be human-like only. I repeat, human-like pastimes are meant to be human-like. Then we can't criticize that human-like pastimes for being human-like, because they are meant to be human-like. That is a Nar Leela of the Lord. So Lord is bringing all his Parshads down, and then the Parshads are playing a role in this drama wherein they are demonstrating vulnerability. So we don't beat them up for being vulnerable, because they are meant to act vulnerable in that drama. So that's how we have to understand Maharaj Dashrath as well as Lord Ramachandra's position. So in this pastime, he demonstrated such vulnerabilities and lot of human frailties we could see in Maharaj Dashrath. So that's, and we talked about his glories as well. So that's about the father. However, now the father had many wives. However, Lord Ramachandra, who is his son, the supreme personality of Godhead himself, he was not a human being. Now that's the difference. Right? Father was a Jiva Tattva. But son was not Jiva Tattva. Son was Vishnu Tattva. That's a big difference. And therefore, the behaviors cannot be put on the same platform. Right? So, Lord Ramachandra was Vishnu Tattva himself, not an ordinary human being. But Lord Ramachandra was also acting in the capacity of a human being. So there, a Jiva Tattva is playing a role in Lord's pastimes, acting as a human being. Here, the Lord himself is coming and acting as a human being. So you can't again put both on the same, what is that called as? Scale, yeah. Okay. So, now, Lord Ramchandra, if we study his lifetime, he also demonstrates vulnerabilities. When Mother Sita was taken away, he is weeping, crying, he is searching, Sita, Sita, where are you? But we have always heard that Lord is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. He knows everything. He is Paramatma, that way he has got a GPS within every, as a super soul he exists everywhere. Do you think he doesn't know? Right? So therefore, Lord Ramchandra, he is demonstrating these vulnerabilities not because of the influence of Mahamaya over him. That's what the Mayavadis, that's where they go wrong. They go severely wrong. With big beards, they will talk slowly. As if talking slowly means you have talked something profound. We can even talk nonsense very slowly. Like one person was teaching yoga to my wife. She was telling, oh, that was very nice. After that, what she said? Arjun, Krishna ho gaya. Arjun Bhagavan ho gaya. Slowly, nicely. I spoke nonsense. So just because something is spoken slowly doesn't mean it's very wise. So but these people have developed an art. So they'll sit and say, when Lord Ramchandra, Bhagavan himself comes, he also has to suffer in this world. This is the nature of Maya. But this is spoken nicely and impactfully, but it is nonsense. It is nonsense. And that's why Prabhupada's blood pressure went up. If you see Prabhupada's purports to these sections, Prabhupada will hammer them. They have no understanding between Yoga Maya and Mahamaya. So we have to understand that whatever vulnerabilities that the Lord demonstrates is a result of his free will. He chooses to become vulnerable to, not Mahamaya, to Yoga Maya. He asks Yoga Maya to cover him so that he can become vulnerable, because in his vulnerability we learn lessons, because we are vulnerable. Because we are Tathashta Shakti. We are marginal potency of the Lord. We are not, we belong to the superior energy of the Lord, but we are still superior marginal energy. Right? So, therefore, Lord's vulnerabilities is a result of his own desires and independence to come as an ordinary human being. He chooses to come as an ordinary human being. We don't choose to come even as a human being. We got a human birth because of our karmana daiva netrena jantur deha upapattaye. Striya pravishta udaram pumsareta kanashrayah. We have come because of our karma, under the influence of daiva netra, divine governance. We are all getting our birth under divine governance, because the divine governance knows our past lifetimes and our karmas. So, we have to understand that whatever we discuss now, it should never be understood that the Lord became out of control suddenly. No, the Lord is the supreme controller. He is always in control. Even his being out of control is a choice from his control. So that we have to understand. So the Lord is always in control, and his Yoga Maya Shakti, acting under his own direction, gives him his own vulnerability and makes him seem as if he is a very vulnerable human being. And because of all this, his pastimes can be related by ordinary, mundane human beings. That's the whole idea, to relate to all of us. Therefore, that vulnerability. So, on one hand, father had many wives. We discussed reasons for that. Now the son is not Jiva Tattva, Supreme Personality of Godhead coming, but still taking Eka Patni Vrata. So, Lord Ramchandra chose to, why did he do that? Because he chose to demonstrate what it is to be an ideal human being. Ideal, it's a very big word. Ideal human being. So, he acted differently from his father, because his father did not come to show what is the ideal human being, right? So, though the Lord's pastimes are transcendental in nature, because he is acting like an ideal human being, we can develop some understanding about him based on the commentaries of the spiritual leaders and spiritual commentators on why he took this vow of Ekapatni Vrata. Why he took the vow of only one wife. From the commentaries we can understand. The first reason is Lord Ramachandra wanted to set the ideals of dharma or righteousness in society. He wanted to uphold the ideals of dharma or righteousness. Why? He wanted to come as Maryada Purushottam. That's the first reason. An ideal man who upholds dharma at any cost. Now please understand, that's a big word. At any cost. And what is the biggest cost someone pays? The cost of being misunderstood by everyone. Even life is easy. Giving up life is easy. For a person of reputation, when you play on that grey zone, which could bring you disrepute, that's a dangerous game, right? But when you do it, when the underlying cause is very noble, that's a big risk someone takes, right? And can be judged, rejected by society. So, an ideal man who upholds dharma at any cost. That is where he was playing. So he is teaching us through this the importance of fidelity in relationships. Fidelity means integrity in relationship between husband and wife. He is teaching us the importance of self-restraint. Supreme Personality of Godhead himself is doing that. And responsibility in marriage. Very important. So he is setting this personal example. Lord came himself to tell us. So that's one. So the first reason is ideal of dharma and righteousness. Maryada Purushottam. So one is duty. But married life is not all about duty. Just imagine. The husband comes and tells the wife, look, I am getting attracted to other women also. But look, I am telling you, they are much better than you, but then I have married you. So it's my duty. I'll be loyal to you. What will happen? Wife will say, very nice, thank you very much. What will happen? Mahabharat will happen there. Correct or no? So life is not all about duty. Higher than duty is what? Love. Love is the essence of marriage. It's not just duty. Everything is not just about duty. Love. What is the difference between Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti and Raganuga? The difference is duty and love. That's the premise of both these types. Even Krishna gives more predominance to love than duty. It doesn't mean we ignore our duties. I ignored my duties out of love for you, my dear Lord. Not like that. Right? So we do our duty, but simply worshipping the Lord out of compliance is only a necessary criteria. It's not a sufficient criteria. To go back to Godhead, we have to develop love. Compliance is not just going to take us back to Godhead. Compliance will put us on a platform from where love will manifest. Nishtha will give us the platform wherein Ruchi will start from there. And then we are entering into the realms of spontaneous love for the Lord. Right? So the first goal of Lord Ramchandra, yes, ideal king, ideal dharma, duty, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. All those things, right? More importantly, why he took Ekapatni Vrata was his sheer love for Mother Sita. Why? She is his eternal consort. His eternal consort. Lakshmi and Narayan, never separated. So eternal consort. So his bonding with her is not based on some mundane romance. That is not the reason for his bonding with his Mother Sita. But his bonding with Mother Sita is spirituality personified. It is the best example for us. It's the pinnacle of all relationships between husband and wife. It's an example. Prabhuji, you can sit here. Hare Krishna, please come. Please, can you please give some space to our guests? You can move a little bit in front so that they can sit comfortably. And the ladies can sit on this side. Thank you. The ladies can make themselves comfortable on this side. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So, Lord Ramachandra's desire not to accept more than one wife was driven one by his sense of duty and responsibility, setting an example to society. The second reason, a more important reason, is what? Sheer love for his eternal consort, Mother Sita. So, as we said, it was not based on some mundane romance, whereas it is the highest example in spirituality of relationship between husband and wife. The Lord doesn't have to marry anyone actually. The Isopanishad invocation verse starts with what? Om Purnamadam Purnamidam. So the Lord is always complete and perfect. He doesn't need anyone to make him complete. So we have to understand that. And already he is with his eternal consort Lakshmi. So why does he need somebody else to complete him? Not required. So he is so complete with her that he did not feel the need for any other companionship outside of his wife, eternal consort. And therefore, because of that sheer love made him search high and low. He puts tremendous amount of efforts and experiences human emotions and trauma. And he goes and searches for her high and low. So, this intensity that he had of emotional and spiritual connect, with his wife is an example for all of us. In marriage, 3 needs of human beings. Of course, in contemporary marriage, only one need is there. What is that need? Physical need. Full stop. So marriages which are only based on physical needs do not last long. Marriage which are based on physical and emotional needs last medium term. But marriages which are based on physical, emotional and spiritual needs, where there is a blend of these things, mature blend of these things, right? Those become an example for others. And physical need doesn't mean only, Maithunam. Physical needs means even the normal etiquettes of husband and wife, coming together, or holding hands and walking through the beach. That's not considered, oh, you sinful rascal. Not like that. We are not fanatic. But at the same time, we have to be very responsible also, how we conduct ourselves. They say, in Australia, what is that called as? What is that? Display of public affection. What is that called? What is that? Public display of affection, yes. So we have to be responsible also, how we conduct ourselves in public. But at the center, some niceties are there. In fact, physical touch is a part of a love language, a bona fide love language. And sometimes it's required very much in marriage. Where, like for example, don't we physically touch somebody when they lost some near and dear one. Not that some Prabhuji goes and tells Mataji like that. Not like that. But obviously within the same gender, within the realms of etiquette, then suppose someone lost someone, then we go and do that. Suppose the wife has lost her father or mother and she's down. The husband goes and said, okay, I'm there with you, don't worry. I will now be your father, mother, everything for you. Now that's an aspect of physical touch in love. So, physical touch has its space. Emotional needs of the wife has to be addressed by the husband. And more importantly, what should be the basis of the marriage? Strong spirituality. And then such a marriage lasts the test of time. And we have great examples in our own congregation of devotees. One of the reasons Melbourne Mahaprabhu Mandir is so glorious is because of course, great brahmacharis are there, but great grihasthas are also there. Very good, stable grihasthas are there. Starting from our own temple president. Being born in Australia, where, You can change wives just like that, and nobody will say anything to you. It's normal, like that. But still, going through Achintya Rupa Mataji and Anirudh Prabhu, when we see them, it gives, Bhakta Prabhu and Bhakti Mataji, Jnana Samudra Prabhu is here, right? Setting a great example for all of us, like that. And of course, so many other girls. Just because I named few doesn't mean others are not there. But yes, so we have got good examples within our own congregation of how to be. So this intensity of emotional and spiritual connect with one's own wife sets a great example for us. And it was central to Lord Ramachandra's own character. So this is two reasons. Right? Second, two reasons are what? One is for dharma. Second is what? Love. Duty and love. Then the third reason, okay, it is in one sense related, like a Venn diagram. It's intersecting. So it's a key differentiator. Lord Ramachandra's life was a key differentiator from contemporary kings. Okay, sometimes in advertisements they say there are so many soaps and toothpaste in the market. What is your USP? Unique selling proposition, like that. And then the unique selling proposition comes into the advertisement, right? So what was the key differentiator of Lord Ramachandra, who was also a king, from other contemporary kings? So polygamy, as we mentioned earlier, was common across contemporary kings. So Lord Ramachandra's decision of monogamy stood apart amongst his contemporary, and it was noticed. And it is very important for a leader to be noticed doing the right things. Because there are two things that a leader has to manage. A leader has to manage realities, and a leader has to manage perceptions. Both are important to be managed. A leader cannot say, I don't care about perception, I know within my heart everything is okay. That a common man can say, but a leader can never say. A leader has to address perceptions in society. Because if perceptions are lost, then leadership cannot sustain. So both have to be addressed very responsibly. And that's why leadership is a very difficult role in life. So Lord Ramachandra stood apart. He demonstrated that one can be a great king. That's a very important point. He demonstrated that one can be a great king as well as an ideal human being. That's very difficult. One can be a great king as well as an ideal human being without indulging in desires. So many times, even when we go to an interview in the office and they'll say, okay, so we are interviewing you for the post of senior vice president in the organization. And then after the interview, one will ask, what are the privileges that come along with it? Will company give me a BMW car? Right? So will you all give me a cabin to sit, or we'll have to sit along with the common people? Right? So many people ask these kind of questions because that senior vice president gives you dreams of a cabin and controlling people reporting to you. It gives you a kick. Okay. Now I will decide the careers of so many people. I can destroy my enemies. And I can win friends by my power and influence, right? And I can win relationships. So that's how the typical human mind works, okay? So Lord Ramachandra knew that a king carries, that role itself gives you entitlement for multiple wives. But still, he wanted to give an example that take a role for executing responsibilities. Do not meditate on the entitlements that come along with that role. So that's the third lesson that Lord Ramachandra is giving by taking Ekapatni Vrata. So though he could have, he chose not to. That's the glory of the Lord. And fourth, the last reason, there could be many reasons, but we could think of only four. Laying cultural codes for the future generations. Right? So Lord Ramachandra's example is a template in today's society. It's a template for all of us. Especially one that resonates deeply within Indian culture. Not to speak that it doesn't resonate. In fact, when you see history, it was US and Europe that I think probably banned polygamy first, right? And then India also followed, especially in Hindus. In Hindu Dharma, it is there. Though in some religions, okay, and we don't want to, talk about that right now. We don't want to judge other religions, but some religions do permit polygamy for whatever reasons that they may deem fit, okay. But largely in the world, legislation has been passed wherein polygamy is legally not acceptable. Okay, so Lord Ramchandra's example is especially as a part of Hinduism and Sanatan Dharma, it's taken as a great example. It has become a very cultural aspect right now. Now, we are discussing about Lord Ramchandra. Monogamy or Ekapatni Vrata is just a small spark of the sublime character of Lord Ramachandra. So Lord Ramachandra should not be only glorified because he had one wife. There are enough rascals in this world who have only one wife, but still they are rascals. Correct or no? Right? A Mayavadi may also have one wife. It doesn't mean you say, oh, very nice. Philosophy itself is bogus, right? So that's not the only reason for glorifying him. The second very big aspect that Prabhupada points out in this purport is that he was a saintly king. More than one wife, it's important to be a saintly king. It's important to be a Raja Rishi rather than just be Ekapatni person, right? And that was another big thing. So a saintly person, what is the duty of a saintly person? To lead by example. What are the barometers of our spiritual progress? What are the three parameters on which we can assess our own spiritual progress? Sadhana, Seva, Sadachar. What are our devotional practices, personal practices, right? When nobody is watching, am I chanting attentively? Am I doing anything mischievous? When nobody is watching, that's character, right? Right? Sadhana, am I studying Srila Prabhupada's books? Am I taking shelter of the scriptures? Am I hearing classes? Am I being introspective within my own heart about my own impurities? As we progress in bhakti, I have heard from various people, I am nowhere qualified to speak this actually, I am just trying to be a student. As we progress in bhakti and as we get into the final years of our life, it is very important for us to go deeper into ourselves and see our own anarthas. And the less time that we invest in seeing our own anarthas, that much extra time we will spend in seeing others' anarthas. Have you ever heard Lord Krishna coming with the flute and saying that, wow, what a quality control person you are. First class, you can catch everyone's anarthas. I need you in the spiritual world, come. There's a lot of problems in the spiritual world. I need a seva. You have to come and talk about all other devotees' bad things and give area for improvement for other devotees. We don't have such people in the spiritual world. Are there such people in the spiritual world? There is always job vacancies for that. But unfortunately, that is not even a criteria for getting into the spiritual world. So therefore, more and more time we introspect in our own anarthas, we will realize we will not have time to discuss others' anarthas. We will simply not have any time to do that because we will get that sense of urgency that what the hell am I doing? I have few years to live and I am busy blaspheming other devotees, and we all know deep within our heart that Prabhupada never likes that, right? What was Prabhupada's instructions? Work cooperatively. Work cooperatively. Do not develop separatist mentality within ISKCON. That was Prabhupada's mood, right? So therefore, it's very important for us to understand this aspect. So, sadhana, our own spiritual practices, seva, how much services we have rendered to Srila Prabhupada's mission, our loyalties to ISKCON. Then our own sadachar, how we are conducting ourselves. By whatever we speak, are we setting an example by which people will say that I want to speak like this person? Or am I not doing that? We know best within our heart. Am I setting a good example? Right? Wherever I go, am I glorifying devotees, or am I, the first thing I do is I start blaspheming and finding faults. This is not good, that is not good. Right? So that's and that Prabhupada is noticing, Krishna is noticing, and we know it within our heart. So it's important for us to know ourselves first. Right? So Lord Ramchandra had this, from his own sadhana, seva and sadachar, he is setting an example for us. Being Supreme Personality of Godhead, he need not do any sadhana. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, I don't have any duties to perform. Right? But still he does it to set an example for others, though he doesn't have to do it. That's character. So he doesn't have any duties, Vaidhi, nor he has to say, I have to develop spontaneity now. He is the Supreme Lord, unto who we develop spontaneity, right? But still, to show us the path, it is said that Lord Ramchandra used to rise in Brahma Muhurt, right? And it is said that he was very introspective. Introspection, devotion, and meditation. All these things Lord himself is doing. Meditating, of course, on himself. But Prabhupada says, don't imitate this. That is called as what? Ahangra Upasana, correct? Ahangra Upasana. Meditating on oneself. Prabhupada said we should not do it. Okay? Because we are not Supreme Personality of God. Okay. So his sadhana. Then his sadachar. Every action he took within the palace or outside in the forest or even in the battlefield, he demonstrated spiritual integrity there. For example, honoring his father's word and going on exile. That was an aspect of his integrity. He completely detached to wealth, status, royal privileges, and being equipoised in both joy and distress. Mastra sparshas tu kaunteya sita ushna sukha dukha daha. Right? Titiksha. Agama payuno anityastam titikshashva bharata. So that titiksha, tolerance, he was showing. All this he was showing without guilt-tripping his mother. He didn't start singing, "Eh Mata, maine tere liye kya kya nahi kiya, dil diya, dard liya." He didn't sing any of those songs, right? Nor did he guilt-trip his mother. Because of you, I had to undergo, all these sufferings. But mother, it's okay, it's okay. No. He never made her feel guilty, right? Actually, Kaikeyi should have felt guilty. And Lord Ramchandra knows also. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It was not a very spiritual desire of hers, right? By which she banished him to the forest. But the Lord never thought like that. That is his glory. That's why it is said, Bhagavan means he sets the highest example. Aishwaryascha samagrasya viryasya yashashriyah jnanaga vairagyoscha shannam bhaga itingana. The one of the aspects of the Lord is not just his fame, power, position, knowledge, etc. It is his quality of renunciation. Even in that renunciation, he is number one. He's teaching us, right? So, that is one. Another thing, the Lord doesn't have to accept any spiritual master, but he accepted sage Vashishta Muni as his guru and served him, right? Many times we have to convince people. People come and tell us, I will not accept any human being as a spiritual master. Yes, sir, sirf Bhagwan ke samne jhukega. As if some big dialogue they have done, right? Kyun nahi jhukega bhai, baki logon ke samne? Your parents are Bhagwan or what? I shouldn't have spoken in Hindi. I'm so sorry. I will repeat in English. People say, come and give dialogue, that this head will not bow down in front of any human being. It will only bow down in front of God. Okay. But don't we bow down in front of our parents? Are they God? So why can't we extend it to others then? Why can't we extend it to a spiritual master? Right? Who is our spiritual father? Right? So therefore, Lord Ramachandra sets this example for others by himself taking a guru. Despite and what did he learn under Guru? He studied the Vedas. And very surprisingly, Bhagavad Gita 15.15 Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishta mattaha smriti jnanam apohanam cha vedaischa sarvairaham eva vedya vedanta krit veda vedeva cha aham. By all, I am the knower of all the Vedas, he says, and he is studying Vedas under Vashishta Muni. Krishna also did that, right? So this is setting an example for others, right? When you don't have to, still you do it. And third is seva. We talked about sadhana, seva, sadachar of Bhagavan, Lord Ramchandra. When in the palace, he would rise very early and serve his parents and assist them in their duties. When in the forest, he would protect the rishis in the forest from demons so that they could perform their penances in peace. He encouraged his praja towards moving towards self-realization. And that's why Prabhupada says he upheld Varnashrama Dharma. Because what is upholding Varnashrama Dharma? What is the goal of Varnashrama Dharma? Atta pumbye dvijas shreshtas Varnashrama vibhagashaha. Swa anushtistasya dharmasya samasiddhir haritoshanam. That is the goal of Varnashrama Dharma. And Lord Ramachandra executed that so nicely. Goading all the subjects towards self-realization. Like a cowherd boy. Goading everyone towards that goal. Even post-coronation, when he was given the post of a king, he was very much a king on the ground. Nowadays, the kings are on the air. They have no idea what is happening on the ground level. If you see leaders of so many countries, they have no idea what are the needs of the people. Right? They are in their own world. Right? So he was a king on the ground. He personally listened to the concerns of his people and placed the welfare of his subjects even at the cost of his personal inconvenience. That is Lord Ramachandra. He didn't have to do that. But he wanted to preserve public trust. Right? He wanted to preserve public trust in the throne, in leadership. To that extent, to do that, he even sent Mother Sita away, though he didn't have to do it. And remained without his wife. Right? So he did that. So, he is teaching us sacrificial servant leadership. Owing to which, because of this sacrificial servant leadership, under his regime, there was no hunger, there was no disease, there was no disillusionment, there was no fear, and there was no injustice in society. None of this, which plague modern day societies. He encouraged yagyas, and so rains came on time, and Mother Earth was prospering under his leadership because of this. Lord Ramachandra, Mother Sita. We have only 4 minutes. I'll try and be brief. Okay. Sorry, I got carried away a little bit. Okay. I didn't see the time properly. So, just as Lord Ramachandra was an ideal husband, and we spoke so many things, we discussed him in great depth. Mother Sita was also an ideal wife. Ardha Angini. Ardha Angini means what? She is half the body of her husband, right? Now, what does that actually mean? What does Ardha Angini mean? My Bhagavatam teacher, His Grace Keshav Prabhu, he always makes this point that Vedic instructions mean that the husband serves the Guru and the wife serves the husband in serving the Guru. So, and I've heard him speaking this so many times that it has got into my head now. Right? So, Mother Sita is the best example of this. Husband's mission. Mission of Maryada Purushottam. Not all husbands are Maryada Purushottam. So this is not a use case for husbands to say, hey, did you hear in class? Be submissive. Not like that. Husband has to be Tejiyansam. And the wife will then automatically serve such a husband. Husband has to inspire the wife to serve him, not force the wife to serve him. Like by force, nothing is attained in this world anyway. One cannot get respect by force. One has to command respect. One can never demand respect, right? So, Mother Sita always served her husband without grumbling, right? Oh, why do I have to go to the forest? I am a modern independent woman. I have my own thoughts also about how to live life. Who are you to tell me? I am also MBA from Harvard University. No, not like that. Okay. So, she never tried to surpass her husband. She never tried to surpass her husband, rather controlled her husband by her chastity. Krishna is controlled by our love. No, Krishna cannot be controlled by any other ways. Controlled by her chastity and her service attitude. His honor was her honor. His honor was her honor, and his joy was her joy. An example of her chastity was she refused the numerous proposals given by Ravan. Lot of proposals were given. She refused to accept his comforts. She refused to accept even his threats. Right? And she stayed in Ashok Vatika, never giving in to Ravan's nefarious intentions or plans, even after months of being tormented by him. She did not. She was resilient. And she protected Lord Ramachandra's reputation. How? She never tried to surpass her husband. Mother Sita could have burnt Ravan to ashes just by her glance. How dare you even enter that Lakshman Rekha, whatever she came out, no? How dare you even come near me, within 1 foot of me? She could have burnt him then and there because she is Shakti Tattva. Right? But why she did not do that? Because she did not want to surpass her husband. She wanted still Lord Ramachandra to get the glory of that. And Lord Ramachandra, he wanted his devotees to get the glory. So this is the beauty of the examples that Bhagavan sets. And this only God can do. No human being can do this, right? So even after being rescued by Lord Ramachandra, she willingly entered the fire. She allowed herself to be subjected to Agni Pariksha. Just imagine if a husband tells a wife, you have to take Agni Pariksha. She said, to hell with you. If you don't trust me, enough of marriage, bye. I will go to shadi.com and find someone else. Correct or no? I'll go to a marriage portal and find better people than you, right? Or go to the ISKCON marriage board, right? So even after that, she entered the fire and came out unscathed. Her chastity was proven. So she supported her husband and her husband's commitment to dharma. Even after the Agni Pariksha, even after she underwent all this, rumors still persisted. Even after that, people were relentless. And playing the role of Maryada Purushottam, Lord Ramachandra decided to prioritize Raja Dharma over Patni Dharma. He still chose that, to do that. Because at that time, a king was expected to uphold not only justice, but also uphold the moral expectations of the subjects. So that is where he was playing on that grey wicket, front foot or back foot, right? So Mother Sita, and then what happened? That Agni Pariksha happened, she came out, but still these rumors persisted, so she spent the rest of her life with sage Vashisht, where love and Kush were born. So from Lord Ramachandra's side, he set an example of personal love and loyalty towards Mother Sita, never remarried. And from her side, sometimes you will see that her side was even more difficult than that what was of her Lord Ramachandra. From her side, she cooperated with her beloved Lord Ramachandra to the hilt. This is the highest limit of sacrifice that a wife can do for her husband. So Mother Sita and Srimati Radharani, therefore they are considered as the best examples of what is the essence of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sampradaya, which is Vipralamba Seva, service in separation. And that's the example that they are setting. So I'll stop here and ask if there are any questions, comments. Yes, Prabhuji.
Out of fear.
Okay, let me just check that. Mother Sita was very submissive, faithful, shy and chaste, always understanding the attitude of her thus by character and love and service. She pleased. Okay, Bhavagni understood Bhiya. Good observation. Sati chaste Bhiya by being afraid. Okay, so this Bhiya is a synonym for shyness. Okay, this Bhiya by being afraid means what? By not. It's not that she was scared and trembling. Oh, my dear Lord Ramachandra. Not like that. By being afraid means she had it shows her reverence for a higher authority. In front of higher authorities, don't we exercise little bit of restraint in whatever we do? For example, if let's say Devamrit Maharaj was to enter our room and two people are talking in the courtyard. They're doing this. When Maharaj enters, what do? Suddenly we become afraid. Correct or no? It is that afraid. That afraid doesn't mean that, it's not the afraid that Hitler has come, now he's going to gun down everyone. No, it's not that afraid, right? This is an afraid which comes out of extreme respect for a very grave personality, for a very realized personality, right? So that is this bhiya. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Prabhuji, you had...
You have told about the glories of Lord Ram. What about the sacrifice of Lakshman? You want to say something about it? Sacrifice of Lakshman.
I would have liked to say something about it, Prabhuji, but owing to paucity of time, I can't do that. And because these purports don't talk about that. Sorry, Prabhu. 2 minutes. Okay. Lord Lakshman ji is an incarnation of Balram. Lord Ramchandra is considered as Supreme Personality of Godhead. So who is Balram? Supreme Personality of Servitor Godhead. Supreme Personality of Servitor Godhead. So Lord Balram and therefore Lord Lakshman, they are Adi Guru. A Guru teaches us primarily how to connect and serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Lakshmana, by his example, he set the best example of how to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And one aspect I will talk about, which is deep inside my heart of Lakshman. When Mother Sita, when Lakshman told her, when Mother Sita told him, go and find out, because what is that deer? Marichi, right? What the deer's name was, yeah. And he said, no, because what Ravana was doing, he sent this, the Asura was doing this kind of sounds as if Lord Ramchandra is in trouble, right? And Lakshman knew Lord Ramchandra can never be in trouble, and he tried to convince Mother Sita, no, I'm not going to leave you alone, because Lord Rama has told me not to be, always to be by your side and guarding you. And you know what Mother Sita told him? She said, that's because you may want to enjoy me. Therefore, you are letting my husband get killed. Just imagine this. You are guarding her selflessly, but even then, Lakshmana never took offense to Mother Sita. Now, when you can even take this kind of chastisement and be misunderstood, even with full integrity in your service, then that speaks something about being Supreme Personality of Servitor Godhead. And that's something that I want to say about Lakshman. Okay. Mataji, yeah.
Hare Bhum.
Sivya.
Hare Bhum.
Oh, sorry, Puja.
Sorry.
Sorry, I didn't see.
I'm
so sorry.
Mataji.
Nyanasandra Prabhu, please.
Thank you very much for the lecture. Just a point of interest. In the early days when Srila Prabhupada, he mentioned
Prabhu,
that...
please speak on the mic. Yeah.
In the early days when Srila Prabhupada, he mentioned to us that there were actually more women than men. That was his observation. And he actually, he accepted polygamy in the community, but then he could understand that actually we couldn't even look after one wife, yet alone...
Can you please ensure that the door doesn't open, close very often? Unless there is a very emergency situation. Yeah, because I can't hear what Prabhuji is saying.
That we couldn't look after one wife, yet alone 2 or 3. So he then said, actually, that we just marry one wife and look after her. But interesting now that the demographics of the world is, because it's a concern that maybe there are more women than men, and that a woman should always be protected by the man, either as a father or a husband or a son. So that protection is very important in our community.
Yes.
But interesting enough now that the demographics is that there's the percentage of men and women is that women have 101 and the men have 100. So that observation now is, it strengthens our argument that actually that a man should just marry one wife, that there's enough men going around to have one wife. He doesn't need to have 2 wives, but there's enough men for a woman in that kind of marriage.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Is that a question or is that a statement?
It's a point of interest because sometimes we say, Well, in the Srila Prabhupada observed that there was more women than men, and that a woman should be married, and that should be protected by a man. So the question is, if that's the case, then we should have more wives.
Okay, as long as it's for protection, yes, Prabhuji. Yeah,
But the world figures, the ratio of figures now is 101 to 100. So that kind of argument
there's no case for that. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, and then at least we have the confidence that the woman can be protected if she has a dutiful husband that looks after her. Then her life will be protected, and she will go forward in her marital life or her social life.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Take the mic 1 minute because the people here can hear you.
I did have 2 questions, but I'll just
Keep
ask
the mic
one.
closer. Yeah.
I had 2 questions, but
You had
I'll
2 questions.
yeah.
Okay. Ask me easy questions. Your questions are the toughest I've heard.
Prabhu, you were talking about Dashrath Maharaj, and I was reading Valmiki Ramayana, and in that Valmiki mentions that when Lord Ram was heading back from Lanka to Ayodhya, then Lord Shiva comes and glorifies Lord Ram, and Dashrath Maharaj also comes to see Lord Ram and Lord Lakshman. So after having the meeting, does Lord Dashrath go back to Swarg? Because it said that he comes from Swargalok. So does he go back to Swargalok or does he go back to Vaikuntha?
Okay. So, if the scriptures say, okay, that he went back to Swarg, then he went back to Swarg, right? Yesterday only we were discussing this point in our Bhakti Vaibhav course, okay. We were, I think, discussing the pastime of Prithu Maharaj. In some context we discussed this. If you go to the 10th canto, you will find that we were discussing this important point, that not everyone who participates, who is given an opportunity to participate in Krishna Leela or Ram Leela, not everyone necessarily is a pure devotee of the Lord. Pure means perfected devotee, highest perfected devotee, right? How do we know that? Because when we see the Yadu dynasty and the fratricidal war where they killed each other, okay, then what happened? After that pastime, if you study Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, you will see that the pastime ends by saying that, and everyone went to their respective places after that. People who were part of the spiritual world, they all went to like many people who were the Gopas or Gopis who had come in that pastime, coming from Golok Vrindavan, they went there, Vaikuntha Vasis went there, but it also says that some demigods are also come, because Krishna had asked the demigods to descend even before him, saying that you all come and be part of my pastimes. So these people also went to the heavenly planets, okay. So it is quite possible that that Maharaj Dashrath, he had come from heavenly planets and gone to heavenly planets. But again, there is one other cardinal mistake we can do. Just because someone has come from heavenly planets doesn't make that person a mixed devotee. I know that you are asking that question probably from that point of view, if at all, right? Not that every person coming from heaven has to be a mixed devotee, because devotees can also be there in heaven, right? For the purpose of giving Krishna consciousness. So it's not that heaven doesn't have, only mixed devotees are there in heaven. Because one can be in a particular place in the cosmos out of one's karmic consequence, or one can be there out of duty ordained by the Lord. Just like Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale. So Prabhupada came into this world not because of karma, but because it was ordained by the Lord. So he is in this place but not of this place. So similar thing can happen in heaven also. Somebody can be in heaven but not of heaven. So that is my understanding as of that. Okay? Okay.
Thank you. And my second question is, when Dashrath Maharaj passed away because of the separation of Lord Ram, was it that he felt guilty towards the decision that he made before to give 2 promises to Mother Kaikai, or was it out of separation? What was the pastime trying to show us on a deeper level?
My understanding of that is that Maharaj Dashrath giving up his life was entirely completely based on viraha tap. Viraha tap means fire of separation. In that fire, he burnt. Okay, and he lost his life. Okay, actually, that is how we should give up our life. That is the perfection of our. That's a perfection of our death. Actually, if we can all, come to that point of, what is that verse? Aslisya shunyaitam jagat sarvam. What? How does it start? Huh? Aslisya va. No. Is it that? Is that the one? Aslisya va padarastumam. Ha. Vinastumam. Adarshana mam varatu. Ha. Yatha thada viratu sampato. Mat prana nastatsu. No. Is that the one which says that? No. That's why I'm saying. Which one? Shunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me. So therefore, the whole world becomes zero in the absence of the loved one. Okay, and who is the loved one for Maharaj Dasharath? Who did he love more than anyone else? Lord Ramachandra. So it is to be seen from a pure spiritual lens, such a kind of separation. It is not the lamentation of a mundane father for a mundane son. It is a lamentation of the jiva for Bhagavan. That is the essence of our sampradaya. All our spiritual practices are meant to come to that mood. That is what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, no? To give that mode of separation. Okay. Sorry, bol. Yeah. Mataji, yeah. We'll take this last question, because then otherwise, yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I've heard that sometimes the devotees of the Lord, they act oddly to facilitate the pastimes of the Lord. So I was just wondering, like Mother Keikei acting in the way she did, how much was it she was facilitating the pastime of the Lord, and how much was it her own karma?
We will never know that, because there are no commentaries given on that, so it will be mere speculation. But my understanding is what I can tell you. In my understanding, it is all a pastime of the Lord. Because in the pastime of the Lord, pastimes of the Lord are dramas. So dramas have to, any drama is normally intended at simulating the real. A drama is intended at simulating the real. So dichotomy of truth and falsehood, of good and bad, is the characteristic of this material world. So therefore, in a drama, the characters also have to take sides of this side or that side. Whether it is Bhishma on the side of the Kauravas, or whether it is Kaikeyi playing this role, or whether it is Jay and Vijay coming and being hated by the world as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. This is the sacrifice of a devotee for the Lord, who is willing to be eternally condemned to be just a part of the drama of the Lord. So in my view, that's my understanding of Mother Kaikeyi. Okay, so what we learn, we don't condemn Mother Kaikeyi, we condemn the mentality which she demonstrated in her role of serving the Lord in the pastimes. Does it make sense? Yeah? Okay. It's time now. It's like 9:20. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantharaj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai.